place. They don't understand that us kids are gonna make some mistakes. So to you other kids all across the land, there's no need to argue. Parents just don't understand.
What is up, guys? EJ here, aka Puckbond 007, and welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100, this great collaboration channel here on YouTube that I'm proud to be a part of. This week it's Will Smith week, and I decided for this week I didn't want to do a typical big budget epic action sci-fi film that Will Smith is really known for, so I decided to go in a different route. And I chose The Legend of Bagger Vance. Now, prior to this film, he made movies like Bad Boys, Independence Day, Men in Black, and the very bad Wild Wild West. So before this film came out, it was sort of a question mark whether or not Will Smith could handle a dramatic role like this. And I think he does pretty well. The film is directed by Robert Redford. And of course I don't need to tell you who Robert Redford is as an actor, but as a director he made films like Ordinary People from 1980, A River Runs Through It, Quiz Show, which is a great film from 1994, The Horse Whisperer, which I don't think I've seen, and then he went on to make Lions for Lambs in like 2006 or 7, one of those movies about the war on terror that did really badly. None of the films in that period about the war on terror did well. And last year he did The Conspirator, the movie about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. But this film, The Legend of Bagger Vance, came out in 2000, and of course it stars Will Smith along with Matt Damon and Charlize Theron. The film starts out in the present day. We see an old man playing golf by himself, played by Jack Lemmon. He slices a shot into the trees, and when he goes out to look for his ball, he has a heart attack, his like 5th in 10 years. And while he's lying there on the ground, he recounts this story that takes place in the late 20s, early 30s, where he is a young 10-year-old boy living in the town of Savannah, Georgia. Every time I've seen a film about Savannah, it's kind of weird because they don't really consider themselves sort of part of Georgia. They consider themselves real Southerners. They have this sort of stigma about being from Savannah and not from the state of Georgia. So that's kind of interesting. But the film sort of centers on Matt Damon's character, who plays Randolph Jr., a very successful amateur golfer back in the teens before World War I. But he goes off to fight in the war and comes back a broken man, leaving behind his love, who he was engaged to, played by Charlize Theron, who's the daughter of the richest man in Savannah. Her father has built this amazing golf resort called Crew Island, but then the Great Depression hits, of course, in 1929, and there's no money, there's no people coming to spend their money on golf, that sort of thing, and he kills himself, leaving Adele Invergordon, that's Charlize's character's name, which I may have mentioned earlier, with all the debt and everything like that, and the local authorities want to buy the land off her and sell it for a quick profit. But she doesn't want to do that. She wants to continue and sort of finish her father's legacy, and she decides she's going to hold a golf tournament, and she invites the 2 best golfers of the day. One is Bobby Jones, played by Joel Gretsch, or Gretsch. I don't know him as an actor at all. But Bobby Jones is probably considered one of the greatest golfers of all time, next to Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. You won't find much argument. He's definitely the greatest amateur golfer at the time, of all time, and there's a big distinction between amateur and professional golfers, especially in this period. He won the Grand Slam in 1930, It's where we get the term Grand Slam when it comes to golf and tennis. Um, the Grand Slam back then was the U.S. Open, the British Open, which are still part of the Grand Slam. But back then it also included the U.S. Amateur Open and the British Amateur Open. That's why he won all four in the calendar year of 1930. She also invites Walter Hagen. At the time, he was considered the best professional golfer of all time. He'd won 5 PGA championships and several, I believe, U.S. Opens or it's British Opens. One of the two. Charlize Theron's character mentions it in her speech when she's introducing them. But these are the two best golfers of the day. So the townspeople are open to this idea, but they want a local boy, a local guy from Savannah in the tournament. And young Hardy Greaves, Jack Lemmon's younger self, he suggests Randolph Jr., played by Matt Damon. But of course Matt Damon doesn't want to do this. He's buried his sorrows in a bottle and has basically disappeared off the face of the earth, so to speak. So he's very reluctant to accept this offer, even though Charlize throws her body at him. A very funny scene when the young Hardy Greaves is actually in the room and she offers herself to him. But after that, after the proposition, he goes out in the middle of the night, picks up his golf clubs, and decides to hit a few balls around and see what it feels like, because he's lost his swing. And out of the darkness, out of the blue, Will Smith appears and offers his caddy services to Matt Damon for the guaranteed price of $5. That's all he wants is $5 and maybe a place to sleep and some food, something like that. Will Smith's character isn't really explained in this film. I don't think he's even real, to be honest, because he shows up later in the film in the present day, and he hasn't aged a day. So yeah, he's sort of a mystical make-believe character, but he's very real in the moment, so to speak. And he offers his caddy services, and Matt Damon accepts. So the match takes place over a weekend. It's 72 holes, 36 holes on the Saturday and the Sunday. They play a morning round, and then they have lunch, a break, and then they play the afternoon round, and they do it 2 days in a row. So obviously Matt Damon struggles early on. The first round he does terrible. He falls 12 shots behind Hagen and Jones, who are tied at even, which is kind of weird. They're tied like the whole match, which I find sort of hard to believe. It doesn't really jive with how golf works, especially at even par as well. But anyway, eventually Will Smith manages to get to Matt Damon and tells him how to think, how to feel, and how to get his swing back. And then he starts playing well in the second and third round, makes a massive comeback, and eventually catches up with Walter Hagen and Bobby Jones. And then there's a big ending, which I won't go into because it sort of spoils it. But the second half of the film is really all the golfing scenes, and Matt Damon trying to sort of rekindle a relationship with Charlize Theron, because he left her before the war and hasn't really talked to her since, especially after he came back. It's not a great film, I'd say, but it's an enjoyable one. If you like golf and you like sports dramas, I think it's a pretty decent film. I like Will Smith's performance in this movie. Like I said, when it came to dramatic roles, I thought he did very well. I loved the little boy Hardy Greaves. He has some very funny moments. He's very good, and Charlize is really good as well. She really handles the sort of southern bravado very nicely, and Matt Damon's good as well. But Bruce McGill, who plays Walter Hagen, is great as well. It's a good movie, The Legend of Bagger Vance from 2000. So that's my review for today. Make sure you guys check out everybody else's reviews. Alan already did The Pursuit of Happiness, another good dramatic performance by Will Smith. I think it's one of his best performances, even though I didn't really love the movie. I thought he was great in it. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see ya.